let's talk about Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney and how they both looked fighting Gamboa. So Yuriorkis Gamboa is a guy. He's approaching what, about 30, about 38 years old. So in boxing terms, he's a little over the hill. He's heading towards that plateau of it's time to hang up the gloves. But early on in his career, before his career got you know pretty much destroyed when he was managed, I believe, by 50 Cent. He was a promising dude, man. He was a promising fighter. One of these fighters that was a force to be reckoned with, man. He was a pretty good fighter, good power, and to me, he always had a chin. And a lot of people would say that Yuriorkis Gamboa is chinny. I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way, and I'll explain why in a minute. But yeah, you have this guy that wobbled Terrence Crawford. You know, he wasn't the best. Yuriorkis Gamboa wasn't always the best defensively. Wasn't a good defensively sound fighter. Managed to wobble and put Terrence Crawford on spaghetti legs. So now you got Gervonta Tank Davis was the first to fight him out of Devin Haney. So both these dudes ended up fighting him. Some people say this guy, it was a wasteful fight. It was meaningless and meant nothing. I don't know. You can look at it that way, but at the same time, maybe Gamboa was a litmus test, right? To some people might see it that way. But let's take a look at both of these fighters, and because people are giving Devin Haney a lot of hell for the way he performed against Gamboa, and people are praising Tank Davis for stopping him in the 12th round. And then you got people that are bashing Tank for not being able to knock Gamboa out cold, especially after having a game leg after pulling his Achilles in the fight. Allegedly, that's what happened with his leg. I'm not sure if it was confirmed that he actually pulled his Achilles, but part of it, I'm not sure, but you know what I mean. So let's take a look real quick. Let's see who actually performed better in that fight. This is an opinion, and my opinion is pretty much subjective. Everybody's opinion is going to be different, but I'm giving my take on what I see or what I thought about those fights. And I'm going to compare both the fighters and how they did against Gamboa. So let's start with Tank real quick. Going into that fight, some people say Tank didn't look like he was himself. He looked like he didn't train well. He just didn't look like he was there. But to me, he looked like the same old Tank. So they fighting, and I don't know the round that Gamboa pulled his Achilles. I don't remember what round it was, but he dropped Gamboa a few times in that fight, wobbled him a couple of times, but he never got knocked out cold. And this is Tank Davis. This is a guy that people say has destructive power. He couldn't knock Gamboa out though. And this is supposed to be a chinny Gamboa. I mean, I've heard many people say that Gamboa has a suspect chin. Okay, so he has a suspect chin, but was able to withstand Tank Davis's power. I mean, Tank was hitting him flush. He was hitting him flush. And even when he did stop him in the 12th, he didn't completely level Gamboa to the point where they had to bring in the smelling salts and people had to get in the ring and carry him out. It wasn't like that. But even then, Tank was getting hit by Gamboa a lot in that fight. He was getting, if you saw Tank's face after the fight, you'll see. He was getting hit a lot. And I said this about the Leo Santa Cruz fight, same thing. Tank Davis, I guess a lot of his defense takes cues from Floyd Mayweather, because that's his guy right there. So you can see hints of that. A lot of hints of Floyd Mayweather in Tank Davis's defense. Only difference is, though, he's never going to master it like the way Floyd did. Maybe he might, because early on, Floyd used to get touched up a lot early on in his fights, and then he started changing up his style a little bit. So maybe that'll happen with Tank. Maybe he'll get a little bit better at his defense, his head movement a little bit better. But he still has good twitch. He has twitch reflexes that are good, though, but he still gets hit a lot. I don't know if he intentionally wants to get hit because he doesn't feel these guys' power. But that still can be dangerous because even if somebody doesn't have power, there's a chance you can still get hurt in that ring. You can get hit with something that you didn't expect. Or the guy can pull some kind of power or some kind of energy out of his gut and just throw it all into his punch and knock you out. It could be somebody like Amir Khan can do it. Shit, didn't Amir Khan drop Maidana? And this is a guy that just supposedly has no power and no chin. And he dropped Maidana. So, this is what I think he dropped Maidana to the body. This is Amir Khan we talking about. So think about that for a minute. When people say, somebody has no power, you can't always count that out as a factor in them not knocking people out, because there's people that we say have no power, right? But they have KOs. Some have KOs where they stop people to the body or the ref waved it off. Some have KOs where they knock the person out cold, so you got to be real wary when you talk about boxers that have no power, man, because that's kind of deceptive, but back to Tank and Gamboa. He was getting hit a lot in that fight. He managed to hurt Gamboa in the 12th, but he hurt him through the whole fight. Gamboa, this is a guy that's supposed to be over the hill, and he's pretty much a shot fighter, a lot of people say. So Tank got the win, 12th round. And the Tank Davis fanboys, oh man, you saw how Tank destroyed him, 12 rounds. Not saying that, I'm not taking anything away from Tank, but here's the thing. Maybe Gamboa isn't as bad of a fighter as people say he is. Maybe he's a little over the hill. Definitely he's not as fast as he was. His reflexes ain't there no more because he's older now. He still managed to use his vet techniques to last 12 rounds with a messed up leg at that and didn't get dropped cold. And this is a Gamboa with spotty defense. Like I said, he never even had the best defense back when he was fighting in his earlier days or fighting Terrence Crawford. He didn't even have the best of defense. So he's older and still couldn't get hit with nothing the way like Leo got hit with. It's amazing, right, when you think about it. So you got to give Gamboa a lot of credit, and then you can't take it away from Tank because that shows how tough Gamboa really is to give Tank those kind of problems. And the face said it all when you look at Tank's face. And then when you look at Gamboa's face, it didn't even look too bad. And this is a power puncher in Tank, right? So let's go to Devin Haney versus Gamboa now. So Devin Haney and Tank Davis, two different style fighters. Devin Haney gets a lot of hell for people for saying he has no power. A lot of people say he didn't grow into his man strength. Yeah, he's pillow fisted. He likes to move around too much. But here's the thing about boxing, man. The name of the game is to get hit. It's to hit and not get hit. That's the sweet science. Now there's fighters that love the brawl. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's the way you want to fight, that's cool. That's your style. Other fighters the goal is for them to not get hit. The less you get hit, the better you are. The less you get hit in a fight, that lessens the chances of you losing the fight, getting knocked out. Once you move around a lot, you absorb, you take on a lot of, you use a lot of your energy. If you're one of those dudes that stay in the pocket and you get hit a lot, that also takes a lot out of you as well. I would say that takes even more out of you than you being able to move around and not get hit as much. So Devin Haney, he took it to the 12th round too, just like Gervonta Tank Davis did. They both went 12 with Gamboa. But look at the end of that fight, and look at Devin Haney's face, and you look at Gamboa. Like I said, Gamboa, to me, has a chin. He was getting cracked with some shots by Tank. He was getting cracked with shots by Devin Haney. Only difference is Tank definitely looks like he has more power than Devin Haney because he was wobbling Gamboa a bit, but still Gamboa didn't go. He didn't go. He didn't. I didn't see him really wobble with Devin Haney. Maybe I think once he probably was slightly wobbled, but Devin Haney didn't drop him at all. Tank did, but that's because Tank has more power. He definitely has the power. I would definitely say that Devin might have, having grown into his what they call man strength, something that I didn't believe in at first, but then as I started thinking about it, makes sense because as I'm older now, I feel stronger than I did when I was a little younger. And I know it sounds weird, and that could be why Gamboa is still as tough as nails. Maybe he's more durable now as he got older. I know it sounds a little backwards, but that could be a possibility. But and Devin Haney was fighting him. He put on a master class of boxing, man. I mean, he was moving, sticking, jabbing him, hitting him with some power shots, getting out the way, moving. And Gamboa, if you just watch the fight, I can't remember how many times Gamboa actually hit Devin Haney flush. Not many times. And Devin Haney said something at the end of the fight. He's like, well, look at my face. That shows you right there that he didn't really do much damage. Absolutely agree with that. Devin Haney's style is more of a boxer than a power puncher. That's just the way he is, man. That doesn't say that he doesn't have power. Because obviously he knocked some people out. He knocked out probably lower tier comp. Yeah. He hasn't really fought anybody yet. And even with Gamboa, he's not the person that's really a person that you could say, yo, look who I fought. I fought Gamboa. He's not a real big name on somebody's resume either. But the dude is tough as nails. Maybe that's why they put him in there with him. He's tough as nails. You can't take that from Gamboa. He's tough. He took a lot of shots from Terrence Crawford. He gave Terrence Crawford some good shots. Wobbled Terrence Crawford. Busted up Tank's face pretty good. Didn't get dropped on a messed up leg. Didn't get dropped to the 12th and got stopped. Then Devin Haney was piecing him up. Didn't even really phase him. And after getting that beating from Tank, he went there with Devin and still took it. So it's safe to say that Gamboa is not chinny at all. I just don't believe that. But just my opinion. So when you're on the surface, when an average person sees that fight, they're gonna say Tank Davis actually did better than Devin Haney against Gamboa. In my opinion, I think Devin Haney did better than Tank did. For the reasons I just mentioned, he moved around better. He didn't take punishment, unnecessary punishment. You don't want to take unnecessary punishment, man. It's not like Tank couldn't get out of the way from Gamboa. Tank was much faster, better on his feet than Gamboa. I guess Tank wanted to make it a dog fight. I don't know, but that could have still caused him to get knocked out. Look, the possibility is always there for you to get knocked out. I don't care if it's from an old shot fighter, a fighter with no power, you can still get knocked out. So why not minimize that risk by moving around a lot more? Plant your feet in spots and hit. But see, like I just said earlier, that's not Tank Davis' style. That's not other boxers' style. That might be Devin Haney's style. That's not Tank's style. They fought different types of fights. But in my opinion, the safest fight is the safest way to fight is the way Devin Haney was fighting. That minimizes your risk of damage. Later on, getting punch drunk or, I think that's a good style to have. If he doesn't bring on spectacular knockouts in his career all the time, that's fine, because not all boxers are gonna give you all knockouts all the time. That's not what you're gonna get. You're not, unless you're Wilder, Deontay Wilder, and even he had one that went to the card. So what was it? He went to the cards against Devin, right? The first fight, I think it was the first fight. He went to the card with Bermain Devin. Second fight, he knocked him out. So when you dig a little deeper and you look at both those fights, when you compare them between Tank and Devin Haney, in my opinion, Devin Haney did the better. He did better. He put on the master class of boxing against Gamboa. Rather, he didn't drop him. So what? He got the win. Damage to his face was damn near non-existent. Nothing. Not a scratch. So my thing is with Tank Davis and Devin Haney, there's still some things both of them need to work on. Tank need to work on his defense and stop getting hit so damn much, man. You don't, unnecessary hits. You got good head movement. You know, Floyd, you with Floyd, you know, but there's some things that some doggers and some people, and they just can't, you know, they just got to get into a dog fight. That's just how some boxers are. That's their nature, you know. Even Mike Tyson, if you watch him fight, man, Mike Tyson didn't get hit that much, man. Like, he had good, superior head movement. He didn't get hit that much in his fights, man. Maybe like towards the end of his career, he started slowing down and he didn't have the real dedication anymore. Then you started seeing him getting hit more in the face. But Mike Tyson barely got touched in the face, man, because he was moving around. Then he knew where to plant. Okay, and then now get him. He didn't take unnecessary punches for no reason, just to get in there. It's okay. Sometimes you got to take one to give one, but don't sit there. I'm watching Tank and I'm like, yo, you should have dodged that, bro. You ain't see that coming from Gamboa. He's slow. So, and then you look at Devin Haney. He was dodging a lot of Gamboa's punches, man. So I think Devin Haney is a amazing boxer. He's an amazing fighter. I think Tank Davis is amazing too. They're amazing in their own way. But when you look at that fight between Gamboa and you compare both, hands down, Devin Haney performed better in so many different ways that I just mentioned. You know, it's debatable. Other people gonna say no, Tank did better because he knocked him out, but he took a lot of abuse that he didn't have to take, especially from an over-the-hill fighter that everybody's calling shot. He didn't have to take a lot of the stuff he did from Gamboa, right? Because that maximized his chances of getting stopped or knocked out. Yes, Tank can get knocked out. You know, regardless of what you might think, he's a human. He is not a machine. He can get knocked out. All right? So that's just my take on this, man. Salute to all these fighters and these warriors. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment below. Who did better in that fight? Gervonta Tank Davis or Devin the Dream Haney? Let me know. I want to see your opinion. Get back to me later. Peace.